Hi, thanks so much for joining me today. I'm Danny from the Glittered Rose. Today I thought we'd look at this card that I've made using my silhouette cutting machine. You could cut it using a silhouette machine, a Cricut, a scan and cut, or you could take the techniques that I've used to create my little Raggedy and use it with your character metal dies. There's the techniques cross over, so if you're a more traditional card maker, I still think you'd get benefit from this video. If it's of any interest, please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and let me know down below what you think. The majority of the cardstock that I'm using is Craft. It's a very similar cardstock to Basil or American Crafts in that it's textured. And I really like the way it picks up the ink when you're ink blending, and I think they look really nice. Because it's a wider cardstock, I cut the base twice and glued them together so it's got that little bit thicker foundation. I'm just starting my shading, so to start with, I use a blending brush and inks. I use a mixture of Ultra New inks and Pink Fresh inks because that's what I've got. But you can use any ink, just make sure it blends nice and smooth. I think Ultra New and Pink Fresh are a good choice because they're formulated for ink blending, so they ink blend nicely. This cardstock really does suck up the ink, so I do end up going over the shaded areas again with ink just to deepen up the shading. When I paper pieces like this, I have a tendency to ink blend the larger pieces first and then glue everything down, and then I can see really well what's in the foreground and what's in the background. And that means that I can add more shading there more effectively. I also will add some shading using pan pastels, and I do it that way. So I just put some blending down on my biggest pieces first and then go in later with the smaller ones. When I cut this file out, I thought, oh my goodness, I am never going to work out the hair. So it comes in 3 pieces, so there's 2 sides plus a fringe, and then you get these little pieces which can layer up to make it look like the full sort of curly ringlet hair that Raggedy Ann has. And it's actually really clever. I think these file creators who make these little characters are so clever. Not only can they draw them, but they know how to layer these pieces together to make the image. You just take your time, you work out what's in the front and what's in the back, and then you layer them all together. I'm going to fast forward this section because I think there's about an hour of me putting it together, and you don't want to sit there for that time. So here I'm just doing some blending using pan pastels. This is a shout out to my mum. She just gave me a heap of pan pastels to help me with this, and I'm so appreciative. Pan pastels are beautiful. They're so smooth. They have a very creamy texture. I know a lot of paper pieces use things like makeup, which you can give that a try, but I really like the pan pastels because they really set well on the paper. This is a reminder for you and for me to clean up your desk really well when you're ink blending, if you blend like I do. So because I smudge my ink onto the glass mat before putting it on the paper, I've left a little bit of red ink on my glass mat and it transferred to Raggedy's face. But I think it should be okay. I think I should be able to cover it by the time she gets her eyelashes and her blush. I have seen some very clever contraptions when it comes to popping eyes on. Some people make templates, but for that to work, you would need to use the same size character all the time, and you would also need to have characters with the same eye type, and that's not me. I get bored easily. I like to do things different sizes. So I just take my time and pop the eyes on. I do find if you have them right before you pick them up, then in your eye, in your mind, you sort of know where to put them, and that's a lot easier. So getting them lined up before you glue them on, and then glue them on, it's a lot easier. If you're using metal dies, this is something you don't need to worry about because most of them have the indentations where the next layers go. So they're a lot easier when you're using metal dies than electronically cut pieces, but electronically cut characters are so much cheaper. So this little Raggedy Ann is from Marjorie Anne Designs. She has some fantastic files. They go together just so perfectly. I really think that she has some great little files. Okay, so her eyes are on and they're looking pretty even. I'm happy with that. And with my Pigma Micron pen, it's in 01 size, so the finest. I'm just drawing her eyelashes and I'm quite happy with that. I'm not, some people do amazing eyelashes. I like more subdued eyelashes. And I'm just going to draw on her little mouth. Not the easiest on textured cardstock, but she's got a gorgeous tiny little heart that my silhouette cut out for her lips, and I'll pop that on. For her cheek blush, I am using my Art Spectrum Shaper Cup. It's a round rubber brush, and I'm just doing the dots on her cheeks. I started off with a lighter colour and quickly worked out I needed a darker one, so I'm just going to grab a darker colour and go in with that. And I think it looks so sweet. I love this shaper cup. It's really nice. You sort of can push your pan pastels into the paper really well. It doesn't rough up the paper. I think that it works really nicely with the pan pastels. I'm just going to dab on some white using my Uniball Signo gel pen just for the whites of the eyes. And then I think I'll probably just add a little bit more shading around her hair and we'll pop the card together. So I'm using an A2 card base. I've popped on a black piece of cardstock over the card base, so card panel, and then I've layered a piece of red texture cardstock, and then some very pretty old-fashioned scrapbook paper, and I'm just popping down Annie along with the sentiment. It's just a sentiment that I had already better pressed, which says feel better soon, and I thought she'd make anyone feel better. So that's the card all finished. I hope that you like her. I had so much fun making her. I really do enjoy doing these paper piecing characters. I think they're really sweet, and I could imagine getting a card that looks like that would be really lovely. I'd really enjoy it. Alright, thanks so much for watching. If you found this video useful, please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Welcome to all my new members. It's fantastic to have you here. And to my older subscribers, thanks for sticking around. Even though I'm still new, I appreciate everyone. Alright, till next time.